One science fact can change how you see an entire subject, from extinct animals to viruses, medicine, and public health. In this compilation, each short reveals one mechanism, one surprise, and one consequence. One prehistoric horse relative had species as small as 10 kilograms, while others weighed more than 150 kilograms. Scientists grouped those animals under the name Plagiolophus, a prehistoric horse relative known from 17 species. The size gap comes from species differences, not one body plan. One genus can hold very different bodies when several species are identified from the fossil record. That range runs from about 10 kilograms to more than 150 kilograms, spanning animals far smaller and far larger than a person-sized body. A size chart makes the spread visible at a glance, turning 17 known species into one clear example of extreme variation inside a single extinct horse relative. Viruses can be grouped into 7 Baltimore classes, even though they look wildly different. That system is called the Baltimore classification. It organizes viruses by replication strategy, not by appearance alone. The deciding question is how each virus makes messenger RNA. Messenger RNA is the copy cells read to build proteins. Viruses that solve that step in the same way land in the same group. Very different structures can share one replication path. That turns viral diversity into a compact map of 7 groups. The classification gives researchers a fast way to compare how viruses run their genetic program. A hospital director helped invent a rocking bed for polio treatment. Jessie Wright worked in physical medicine at the D.T. Watson Home for Crippled Children. She was part of the care setting where polio patients needed practical support. The rocking bed was not a comfort item. Its motion was the treatment idea, turning the bed itself into a medical tool. That meant bedside care could become engineered care. A familiar piece of furniture was redesigned around a medical need. Jessie Wright helped turn a hospital problem into a device. The rocking bed shows how treatment can start with what staff see at the bedside. In 1934, Gavle Hospital in Sweden was so overrun by scarlet fever that officials considered taking a local gymnasium. Scarlet fever spreads through close contact, so the problem was not only illness, it was the lack of room to separate patients safely. When beds, corridors, and wards filled up, the hospital needed more treatment space than the building could hold. Requisitioning a gymnasium meant looking beyond the hospital walls. That kind of overflow response shifts the focus from staffing alone to usable space. A school gym or hall can become a temporary medical buffer. In Gavle, the shortage was severe enough that extra treatment space became a concrete option, not a theory. The hospital was searching for room, not just more hands. Heart stents were placed before the lung problem was found. The patient's playbook uses that case to warn against rushing treatment when symptoms point in more than one direction. The heart can look like the obvious target, but the first clue may belong elsewhere. The decisive detail was that the real source was in the lungs, not the heart. Diagnosis, the process of identifying the cause, had to come before intervention. That means the first procedure targeted the wrong organ. A treatment can be technically advanced and still miss the problem if the source has not been found. The case leaves a simple caution: before placing stents, doctors need the best possible diagnosis. In medicine, the most visible organ is not always the one causing the trouble. The title Heaven and Earth, and Sea and Air was written by the man behind the Neandertal name. Neandertal is not just a fossil label, it points back to a historical person whose name entered science through later use. That same figure wrote on natural subjects in a broad work called Heaven and Earth, and Sea and Air. The title suggests a wide view of the natural world. So the name Neandertal carries a person, a text, and a scientific memory together. It is a fossil name tied to an author's wider intellectual life. When you hear Neandertal, you are hearing a name that still points back to an author. The book title keeps the link visible in the record. The energy polarizer was marketed as a device that could improve Holden Commodore performance, and crystals were part of the claim. It was presented as a performance product for Holden Commodores, not as a decorative car accessory. The unusual part was the crystal-based pitch. The claim did not rest on a supplied engineering explanation here. Instead, the crystals were offered as the reason the device should affect performance. That made the energy polarizer a striking example of an automotive claim framed around materials, not measurable details in the supplied record. The memorable result is simple: a car performance claim tied to crystals, and a name that still stands out in automotive history. Impact event fiction usually spends more time on society than on the impact itself. The collision is there, but the human fallout takes over. These stories start with a physical event, then move to the systems around it. Governments, cities, and households become the real setting. The impact is the trigger, not the main subject. The science explains what happens at the point of collision, but fiction often follows the chain reaction after that. That shift turns one event into many consequences. Supply lines, public order, and daily routines all change as people respond. So the lasting focus becomes measurable in people, institutions, and choices. The physics starts the story, but society carries the weight. If one of these facts changed how you think about the world, the rest will too. Subscribe for more evidence-led stories, and tell us which episode surprised you most.